Welcome back to the Andrew and Ian Show. I'm Andrew Serwick here again with Ian. Hi, Ian. Uh, it's the first week where, in a while, where we only have one college game to preview this week. Feels weird, so gonna be a little bit of a shorter episode, but we got some baseball to talk about too in this episode. But before we get to that, how are you doing this evening, man?
Can't really complain, it's just one of those days. It's another Thursday, yet another sadly Amazon Thursday night game, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, and let's just get right into it. We got the Niners hosting the Rams. The Niners, a 3-point favorite in this game, and I don't know why they are the favorites in this game, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I mean they're out Trent Williams this week on that offensive line, and that is huge. They're not really playing for anything this year except for maybe a wild card team or wild card spot, I should say. Um, and it almost seems like they've kind of phoned it in this season. They aren't playing really well. They're down to like their fourth string running back as well. I'm not sure if Guendo is going to be playing yet. He's listed as questionable, but from what I've heard, he might not play at all. And that means, yeah, you'd be playing your fourth string running back at that point because obviously you're out Mason and you're out McCaffrey. So, yeah, big problems there. Also, Matt Stafford's been playing some incredible football last few weeks. He's got two or more touchdowns in his last three games, and he hasn't thrown an interception in a few weeks. So he's playing extremely well. And Kyron Williams, he's one of the best running backs in the league right now. He can catch and he can just run the ball. Give me the Rams to win in the upset here, and I don't see how it's really truly an upset because I don't think the Niners are that good. And like I said, Rams are playing incredible right now.
I'll tell you why the Niners were favored, and it's because they blew up the Bears defense. That's about it. And the Bears defense is better than the Rams. But at the end of the day, I still think the Rams are a better team, not only record-wise, but talent-wise than the Bears. So I'm with you. I'm also going to take the Rams on this one. Matthew Stafford, he has been playing ball, and Kyron Williams has been a great complement for that passing offense as well as on the ground. He's, been that guy for them. And if that continues to roll, the Niners defense has been pretty beat up already. I think they got Dre Greenlaw back for this game, but at the end of the day, like you said, they're down to their fourth string running back. Deebo Samuel's still there at wide receiver, so they have some offensive choices, but it's pass or die at this point for the Niners.
Yeah, I mean Greenlaw coming back that kind of helps, but it's like he hasn't played a single snap all year, so if he does play, I mean, is he gonna be that big of a factor? I don't think he will be, just because he hasn't played in almost a year. So I just don't see how he's going to be a factor in this game. The Giants host the Ravens. The Ravens, a 16-point favorite in this game. Now, it opened at 16.5. It's moved down to 16. I think that's just kind of Vegas trying to, you know, cover their ass a little bit. Because people are, taking Ravens to win, obviously, and to cover that 16. Obviously the Ravens have not been playing well. They have one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. They have a good offense when it can get going. Sometimes it's just like the offense just doesn't play very well. Lamar's been playing good this year. Um, I mean, but it's the Giants here, right? Expect Derrick Henry to go for 100 yards and keep the trend alive, where all their wins come with him over 100 yards. Um, and yeah, give me Ravens to win. 16. It's such a hard number to cover, but I'm gonna say yeah. Give me the Ravens to win and cover that 16. It's the NFL, so you never know what can happen. But the Giants are ass, so I mean, like, there's a good chance they could cover that 16.
And you said it right there. The Giants are ass. Give me the Ravens to win. I don't think they cover. I think they can win this by two touchdowns, but I think 16 is a little much unless you have Lamar Jackson throwing for five touchdowns and Derrick Henry's adding another on the ground. Because, like you said, the Ravens defense isn't the greatest, especially that secondary. And a secondary with Kyle Hamilton should be pretty damn good. And they were last year, so whatever happened, who knows? this is a game where they continue to hold that playoff position and make it worse for those teams like Cincinnati and Miami that are trying to chase them and knowing we could potentially have a team in the AFC under 500 in the playoffs. But this is a game if the Ravens do somehow lose, that would all but cement it at that point.
I don't think it would because I think the Ravens are realistically, if you just look at the schedules, the Ravens are like probably the one team that wouldn't be able to in that group. Um, but I mean, look, it's the NFL. Anything is possible. But yeah, the Jags host the Jets. The Jets, a 3.5 point favorite in this game. This is definitely your toilet bowl of the week. Um, yeah, look, if you're a fan of any New York, if you just live in New York and New Jersey, you just hate your life. Like you just have to hate your life at this point. Um, at least when it comes to football. Not so much other sports, but uh, yeah, Jacksonville obviously without Trevor Lawrence, he's obviously has that concussion. Um, and look, Rodgers the last couple games he's looked all right. I mean, he's definitely looked better than he had, the previous, 3, 4, 5, 6, weeks. Well, really all season except for these last few games. Um, but he's definitely playing better. The offense has gotten slightly better, I guess. I mean, not really. I mean, the eye test tells you that they're basically the same. Stats say another line though. Um, Jacksonville, though, I mean, yeah, backup QB in a bad spot here. Give me the Jets to win. They don't cover that 3.5, though. I think this is, a very, very low scoring game. And, yeah, Jets win it on a field goal.
I completely agree that this is a toilet bowl game. I mean, both of these teams are 3-10, and honestly, if I'm the Jets, I don't even care if I lose this game. I'm not going to the playoffs for the 14th straight year. At this point, if I can get a shot at the number one draft pick, give it to me. But at the end of the day, these are two teams that I look at and they're very similar. They have okay offenses and they could have better defenses, or they have pieces of this defense that were drafted recently that they want to turn that defense around, and it's not really working. I mean, both of them are okay. At the end of the day, neither of these teams are good. Even with the additions that New York made at the trade deadline, and we thought maybe it could turn their season around, and it hasn't. I'm with you. I think the Jets win this. I don't think they cover that 3.5 just because it's a bad game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the game that I don't end up watching this week. It's just going to be a highlight reel game. This one also is probably going to be a highlight reel game. Panthers hosting the Cowboys. The Panthers have moved to a 3 point favorite over the 2.5 that they were last night. Um, Look, all you have to tell me that if the Panthers are favored over anyone, I'm taking them. Yeah, give me the Panthers to win and cover that 3. Look, Bryce Young the last couple weeks, he's been actually playing very, very well. Um, Obviously the numbers aren't quite there, but just looking at him, looking at game tape, he's looking a hell of a lot better. Um, so yeah, the Cowboys. I mean, obviously they're down to Cooper Rush, and he's ass. So there's that for you. Their defense is not any good at all. And yeah, so like I said, if you have the Panthers favored in a game, this is the first time the Panthers have actually been favored in a game since 2022. By the way, um, so that kind of tells you something there. Uh, but yeah, I mean, look, the Cowboys are in disarray. They're playing for nothing at this point. I mean, neither's the Panthers. So yeah, give me the Panthers to win and cover.
You said it. This is the first time the Panthers have been favored, and I think it's since 2022. And this is it's odd to say that they're actually favored in a game, but it all starts with Bryce Young having a really good turnaround this year, and it's that benching seemed to have done something for him. It lit a fire under his ass, and they're playing competitive, albeit they're still losing games. You were devil magic away from beating the Chiefs, and you know could have beaten the Eagles. It's these are they're playing really good games, and took overtime to lose to the Buccaneers even. So it's a big leap of progress for Bryce Young, and I think it is enough for Carolina to get this win.
Yeah, I definitely think that is enough for them to win here. Either way, it's still going to be a toilet bowl. The Saints host the Commanders. The Commanders, a 7.5 point favorite in this game. The Commanders, I mean, now they're just kind of fighting for a wild card spot. I think Philly's just a little bit too far out of reach. Philly also has the tiebreaker right now over Washington. I believe. Let me just double check that. Well, they play the Eagles next week, so maybe not. But yeah, either way, the Commanders they're fighting for wild card seeding. Realistically, I mean, unless the Eagles go into full collapse these next couple weeks, I think the Commanders, are just fighting for wild card seeding at this point. The Saints, they got nothing to live for. Derek Carr's out. I mean, yeah, they had a nice win last week over, the dog shit Giants, but it is what it is. I'm taking the Commanders in. They'll win. They'll cover. I got all that faith in Jaden Daniels. There's, really no defense on the Saints team anyways. And like I said, Derek Carr's dead, so they're not going to be able to score points.
You said it. Derek Carr is pretty much dead at this point. He's got a fracture in his non-throwing hand. It's still going to impede him. Whether or not he's going to be playing, I don't know. Doesn't matter. You are now solely focused on the ground game, and Alvin Kamara's been pretty disappointing as of late. He had a really hot start to the year and fallen back to earth. He's still looking to pass 1,000 yards rushing. Only has 6 touchdowns on the ground throughout the whole year. It's pretty underwhelming. But on the other end, you have Jaden Daniels, the rookie quarterback, who's looking to get his team in the playoffs, and it looks like they're all going to have a over 500 record. I mean, because I'm going to take them to win and cover this one.
Yeah, I think it should be no issue. Also, Chris Olave's dead for New Orleans, so they really don't have anything to throw to either. So there's that for you. The Titans host the Bengals. The Bengals, a 5.5 point favorite on the road. Devil's number on the road. I don't know, but the thing is that the Titans' offense is terrible. The Titans' defense, great. The Bengals' offense, great. The Bengals' defense, terrible. So you have each team's strength going against each other and each team's weakness going against each other in this matchup. This game is going to be, I think, I think the Bengals' offense will be able to carry, that defense, that abysmal defense, who will get some stops, I think, against this even more abysmal offense in Tennessee. Give me the Bengals to win. I don't. You know what? They cover that 5.5, but just barely, I think. I don't think this is going to be a blowout win at all because, again, the Titans' defense is really, really good. And the way and their pass rush is really, really good. And that Bengals offensive line is not good at all. They have been struggling all year on the offensive line. Burrow's been pressured a ton, but I still think that while yes, the Bengals offense will be the one that's carrying this team to victory, it's not going to be in a blowout fashion over this Titans team. The Titans are going to score quite a bit too, I think, just because this Bengals defense is that bad. But I don't think they're going to be able to score enough to keep themselves in it.
I think that's a very valid assessment of this game. I mean, pretty much hit the nail on the head with the hammer on that one. Just Bengals offense is great. Titans defense is a lot better than people expect and people still think. But the other side for both of these teams is bottom of the league, and I still think the defense for Cincinnati is going to be the difference in this one because of one man, and that's Trey Hendrickson. That man, he is the only bright spot for that defense, and I think he's going to get a sack or two in a clutch moment that's going to knock them either out of field goal range or just stall a drive completely, and that'll be enough for Cincinnati and the offense to do what they do and win game.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Texans host the Dolphins. The Texans, a 3-point favorite in this game. The Dolphins are one of those AFC teams that could finish the year under 500 as a wild card team. So keep an eye out on that. And I think Texans are going to help with those odds of it happening with a win here this week. I think Houston wins. They cover. Look, the Texans, they have struggled in recent weeks, but they're coming off the bye, I believe. And let me just double check that. Yeah, they're coming off a bye, so that obviously really helps them out. The Dolphins don't have a defense. Their offense is good, but it's not great. Obviously Tua and Tyreek have been linking up a lot in the last few weeks, especially since Tua's come back, but last couple weeks especially, they've been really well. Look, the Texans defense has been underwhelming. So is their offense though too. But I think the Texans will be able to pull out the victory here this week over the Dolphins. So yeah, give me Texans to win, and they just barely cover that 3.
I think that's I wouldn't say I don't know. I completely lost my train of thought on that one. You got a really good point. This Texans team is coming off a bye. I just want to see, can they win at home against a potential playoff team? We saw what happened with the Lions the last time they played, and I mean they had 5 interceptions to Jared Goff and lost that game. Now, they did beat the Bills at home by a field goal. So that does also instill me with a little bit of confidence for this Houston team. Now, Miami, Tua has been playing ball, and Tyreek is starting to come back. But at the end of the day, I still think the Houston Texans are missing players on defense. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the safety that hit Trevor Lawrence is going to miss part of this. Or was that just last game? He was just suspended for it.
No, he was suspended. I think it was a 3-game suspension. So, uh, yeah, he's not. He won't be playing this week.
So it's a big loss. And anytime you have a starter who's not going to be in against an offense like Miami, it spells disaster. I'm going to take Miami to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the bye week is really what's going to factor into the Texans' success this week. Yes, they are without fucking I forget his name now, but that safety that you were talking about, yeah, they're without him, um, and yeah, I just don't see how. Uh, well, I can see how they could lose on paper. But yeah, I think either way, this is going to be a close game, no matter what. Um, and yeah, the Broncos host the Colts. The Broncos, a 4-point favorite. Um, both these teams are actually two of the teams that could be in the AFC wildcard weekend as under 500 team. But I think that it's going to be both of these teams are going to be out of that running here because I think the Broncos are going to win this game. I think they cover as well. Look, Bo Nix has been playing really well since a slow first 4 games of the season. He's broken out and he's become a hell of a lot better. The Colts struggling, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They have a lot of pieces there, but they just can't figure it out. Anthony Richardson is not a good quarterback. Defensively, same thing. They got a lot of pieces there. They just can't figure it out. And they give up, a lot more points than, you would think they would. And again, Sean Payton, he's the quarterback whisperer. I mean, his development for Bo Nix has been absolutely insanely good this year. And the Broncos defense has actually really stepped it up over the last 4 or 5 weeks now. So yeah, give me the Broncos to win and cover that 4.
Yeah, you stole the point right from me about how both of these teams could potentially be sub 500 in the playoffs, but I agree with you 100%. Broncos are going to avoid themselves with this win today. Not today, or that day. But so yeah, give me Denver to win and cover. Bo Nix has been playing on another level from rookie quarterbacks that we've haven't really seen outside of Jaden Daniels. So I'm confident that he can get this win against the Colts defense that is okay, but their offense is inept at best in certain cases. And when Anthony Richardson wants to play ball, he can, but the Broncos defense is going to hold them, and because they've held better offenses than the Colts. So I'm going to take Denver to win.
The Cardinals host the Patriots. The Cardinals a 6 point favorite in this game. Look, the Cardinals they're fighting still to win the NFC West, but Seattle's starting to run away with it, and now they're sitting third place in their division, and they don't have any tiebreakers either. They're hungry though. A win this weekend will obviously help them out trying to get into the playoffs, but they need a lot of help outside of their control. So the best thing they can do is win. The Patriots, they're just ass with a good quarterback, and that's really all it is. Drake May is, I mean, he's good. He's been as advertised, just he makes mistakes, a lot of rookie mistakes, but you're expecting that. But he does make really, really good plays as well. He makes plays with his feet, and he makes some good throws. But he also makes a lot of bad throws because just rookie mistakes. Patriots defense blows though. And offensively, they have nothing outside of Drake May either. They don't have any weapons. They don't have an offensive line. I'm expecting them to take a left tackle in the draft this coming year. That's where I've landed with some of these teams. It's just like, yep, I already know exactly where or what position these guys are gonna draft in the draft this year, and I think Patriots are gonna be looking at a left tackle with their pick this year. So yeah. Anyways, I think the Cardinals win. I think they cover no problem. Again, the Cardinals, the only thing they can do from here on out is just win games. And I think this is a nice spot to start doing that. I mean, you could have started earlier this season, but I digress. But you can increase your odds of going to the playoffs if you just start winning games. And the Patriots are ass. You should be able to take full advantage of that defense. And it's also going to kind of hinge on Kyler Murray at the same time. What version of him do you get in this game?
And there it is, the question that needs to be asked. What version of Kyler Murray are you going to get this game? You get the version of Kyler Murray that's thrown 8 interceptions this season, you can lose this game. So it's like, and the Patriots, Drake May has been a good quarterback in a dog shit situation. And to add to your point about the draft, it does help when, the team is 3-10 and, that's all they're playing for is draft position at that point. But, at the end of the day, the Cardinals are a more well-rounded team than the Patriots on paper. And it just, Kyler Murray has to be able to execute those plays when they need them to not only get them to the playoffs but to also win in the playoffs. So I'm gonna take Arizona to win and cover. I think they win this one by a touchdown at least. But I wouldn't be shocked if Kyler Murray starts shit in the bed that New England walks away from this one with the win.
The Chargers host the Bucks. The Chargers a 3 point favorite in this game. Look, the Bucks. These are two pretty hot teams. The Bucks especially have been really, really hot the last few weeks. They finally got the lead in their division because Atlanta is completely imploding upon itself. But look, the Chargers, they've been playing very, very well. They have one of the top 5 defenses in the league. The offense has been good. Justin Herbert, the last few weeks, hasn't been playing well. I believe he is playing somewhat injured, though. So they got to keep an eye on that. But look, the Bucks, especially since Mike Evans has been back in the lineup, have been extremely lethal offensively, and defense has been kind of really the same it's been all year. I think it's going to come down to, can LA's defense do enough to keep them in the game? and they can win this game. So I'm gonna take. But with that said, I think I'm gonna take the Bucks, because I don't know how well that offense is going to perform against this Buccaneers defense, or other way around. I don't know how the Chargers offense is going to perform against this Bucks defense. Um, and I think the Bucks are going to do just enough to stop them. I think the Chargers defense can keep them in the game, but they're going to have to they're going to have to like really really strangle this Buccaneers defense or offense to even be remotely, I think, in this game. So I'm going to take the Bucks to get the upset win here. I would not be shocked if the Chargers win, but I just have a better feeling about the Bucks this week.
So as of right now, Justin Herbert was limited at practice today. So that is something to note. Like you said, he was or is playing injured. And we've seen what the Buccaneers are capable of doing, not just offensively, but even defensively. Week 2, who did they beat? Good old Detroit Lions, and that's their only loss on the season because the Bucks defense stepped up and came to play.
Speaking of that, real quick, the Bucks have killed both the Lions and the Eagles this year, so there's something there.
Yeah, with Mike Evans and a healthy team, this Buccaneers team was a very, playoff caliber team, and they could have not only gone to win the NFC South outright with less of a competition between Atlanta. They might have gone, for another shot at Detroit in the playoffs again. But right now, they have the Chargers in their way, and the Chargers have a really good defense, and they have to overcome that. So let's see how they perform. But at the end of the day, I'm going to look at Justin Herbert if he's really playing injured, that he's going to end up making a crucial mistake, not just because it's his fault. It's more, he did something, to preserve himself from injury and it ended up coughing up the ball, or he threw a pick and, he saved himself from a hit, but it cost his team the game. So I'm going to think of something along the lines of that's going to give the Bucks the edge in this one.
And then one of the two big games of the week, we got the Eagles hosting the Steelers. The Eagles, a 5.5-point favorite in this game. Both these teams come in with a top 5 defense. Both these teams come in with a struggling offense. The Eagles last week struggled against a miserable Carolina defense, only putting up, 22 points or something like that against a very, very bad Carolina defense. And they've struggled against bad defenses all year. Their defense, though, I mean, that's the number 1 defense in the league. So I have no problems. I see no problems for them stopping that Steelers offense. But here's the thing: Steelers also have a really, really good defense. Their offense, or the Eagles, have struggled against bad defenses, and they've struggled at times against good defenses this year. This game is going to be, I think, really, really close. I think it's going to be really low scoring too, because of the defensive battle that you're going to see in this game. I'm going to take the Eagles to win. I think the Steelers cover that 5.5, no problem. I think this is going to come down to a last-second field goal because this is just going to be a grinding defensive battle.
I agree. I do think that this comes down to a last-second field goal, but I think it goes the other way for Philly. I think Jake Elliott misses a game-winning field goal for the Steelers to win this. And it's going to come down to, I think Russell Wilson outpasses Jalen Hurts. And that's what's going to get Pittsburgh in that position. And we've seen Russell Wilson can pass the ball. Jalen Hurts only had 108 yards against the Panthers. That's not filling me with confidence. And now you have A.J. Brown making comments about the passing offense. And, the whole beat is, should Philly be concerned about his comments? No. They should be concerned about their abysmal passing offense, which is going to lose them this game.
I like the bold call there. I would not be shocked if the Steelers win this game. In fact, I would probably bet it, honestly, because there's good value in betting them on the money line right now. But yeah, it's such a tough number, that 5.5. But Phillies favored the 5.5, and 5.5 at home is a lot different than 5.5 on the road. So yeah, it'll be very, very interesting there. I completely forgot a matchup in the 1 o'clock hour, and that was Browns Chiefs. Um, so we'll go back to the 1 o'clock hour real quick. The Browns hosting the Chiefs. The Chiefs a 4.5 point favorite in this game. You would really think the Chiefs would be favored a lot more. A 12-1 team would be favored by a lot more than 4.5 over a 3-10 team that has a QB that throws just as many picks as he does as he does touchdowns. Right? Kind of makes a fella wonder. I think the Browns are going to give the Chiefs a good challenge this week. I'm going to pick the Browns to get the upset win here over the Chiefs. Yeah, they have to win it with like 2 seconds or less left in the game because you cannot give Mahomes the ball back because otherwise dark magic happens and the Chiefs kick a game-winning field goal again. I'm going to go with the Browns here. I mean, look, their defense is not that good, but neither's Kansas City's offense. And Kansas City does have a good defense, their top 10 defense, but they've struggled in recent weeks against, they've struggled against bad offenses. They have also struggled against good offenses, and then they also play, very well defensively against good offenses. And then also against bad offensives. So it's kind of a toss-up every week with the Chiefs here. Something's got to give, though, at some point. 4.5 point favorite on the road. Give me the Browns to get the upset.
So the Browns didn't get the upset last week. Could they have been looking forward to this one instead? Because that 4.5, I'm with you, is very, very suspicious. This Chiefs team is better than the Browns. Like, no doubt. Offensively, defensively, across the board. So the fact that they're only 4.5 point favorites, their offense isn't, I mean, it's bad. Patrick Mahomes is having one of his worst years. But they just got Pacheco back. This Browns team isn't good. At the end of the day, Cleveland did beat Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I'm going to roll with the Chiefs to win this one because of their, voodoo dark magic bullshit. They won't cover.
That's probably the safer play is to bet the Chiefs to win, but the Browns cover. But I want chaos. I don't think the Chiefs are good. I think they're bound to lose 1 or 2 more games this year. I mean, they're definitely going to lose in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but they're bound to lose another game or two in the regular season, right? Right? So anyway, back to the 4:30 games. This game, again, challenger for game of the week with that Eagles-Steelers game. We got the Lions hosting the Bills, a potential Super Bowl game preview, if you will. Lions, a 2.5 point favorite in this game. It opened at 3.5 this week. So look, the Lions, they're gonna be getting a couple guys back on that defense, but not not every single piece. Aleem McNeil, I don't believe is playing this week. DJ Reader could be back though, so that could be very, very helpful. I see Aleem McNeil's listed as questionable, so there's a good chance he's playing this week. Yeah, and if DJ Reader plays, that's going to help out that defense a ton against Josh Allen. The Bills' run defense is one of the worst in the league. They are terrible against the run. They're pretty good against the pass, but the Lions, you know what they do offensively. They pound the rock more than anyone else. They have the best running back duo in the NFL, bar none, with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So that's how the Lions are going to win this week. They're going to keep pounding the football down Buffalo's throat, control time of possession, not let Buffalo have the ball as much. I think this is going to be close. I think this is going to be a very, very high scoring game as well. I would not be surprised if the total points at the end of the game is 80 or higher, because I think, yeah, with the Lions defense as beat up as it is, this Bills offense, especially, you know, can really take advantage of it because they have so many pieces everywhere on the field. Um, and yeah, obviously, I think Terrion Arnold's good for a PI to help the Bills score at least once, on a drive. But this is going to be a very, very high scoring game because, again, also the Bills' run defense is terrible. Um, I'm going to take the Lions to win, and they cover that 2.5. But I think this is going to come down to a field goal for either team. Get your popcorn ready, though, for the offensive fireworks.
Yeah, you saw Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes. Get ready for Josh Allen versus Jared Goff. Hammer the over. This thing could very well hit 80, 90, 100 total points. And, I mean, both of these offenses have very explosive play capability. And my thing is, the Lions, if they can take Josh Allen's legs away from him and force him to throw balls more than he runs, you're going to have a good game. If you can keep him contained and he's not running, all over you, you can hope that Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph are, back there waiting. And for now, they are. And, God willing, they are up until the end of the season. So that's the key for me is can this Lions defense, especially in the state that they are, even with getting players back and whatnot, can they contain Josh Allen on the ground? 'Cause that might be the difference. I'm gonna roll with the Bills. I think they win this one. At the end of the day, it's not gonna matter for the Lions, especially if Philly loses, because now you have to beat Minnesota at the end of the season, and then you just lock up the 1 seed.
Yeah, look, honestly, if the Lions lose one out of the next 4 games, doesn't matter to who, they still lock up the 1 seed. Um, if they lose two, they still have a chance, but they need some things to happen to Philly for the 1 seed, and then it from there the odds just decrease. There's a giant chart that I'll actually send you later, of the odds of it. But yeah, win 3 out of the next 4 if you're the Lions and you're the 1 seed. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills win this game. I just need Josh Allen to run for 1 touchdown, and I can fucking this over 2 hit, and I need some other things to happen in this game that I think definitely will happen because the Bills' rush defense is ass and all that shit. All that stuff happens, I win a nice chunk of change from a parlay that I played. Sunday night football, we got the Seahawks hosting the Packers. The Packers, a 2.5 point favorite in this game. Look, the Seahawks, they're kind of out for blood, I think. I think now that they have the division lead, they're not going to want to let go. Seahawks also have one of the biggest, home field advantages in all of football. The Pack, they're really, really good. I mean, Jordan Love, he's not having his greatest year, but he's still good. Jacobs is one of the best running backs in the entire league. He's not the best running back in the NFC North, obviously, but that's definitely no bias there. But I think this Packers team is still really good, and they are a playoff caliber team. But so is the Seahawks, and they've been playing very, very well. Geno Smith hasn't thrown a pick in his last couple games. But the Packers are very, very good at getting interceptions as well. So that's something we might want to keep an eye on for that game. I'm going to roll with the upset here. I think the Seahawks get the win. They're going to want to play basically just defending that division lead. And they're going to, not take a whole bunch of risks against this Packer team. They're going to play square, and they're just going to get the job done. I think the Packers are going to play aggressive because they're just playing for seeding at this point. So they're going to try to do everything they can to win. Give me the Seahawks get the upset win here over the Packers.
Much like the Cardinals, the Seahawks have one glaring question, and that's what version of Geno Smith do you get? I I don't know how he's gonna react in this game. Yes, they're at home, and yes, Seattle is a very tough place to play. Green Bay wants revenge from that Lions game. They want to win out. They want to cause as much chaos as possible. And if they can knock Seattle down a peg and suddenly they're not only not on top of the NFC West, but they're not even a wild card team anymore, that's going to boost the Packers and that's going to help them, not only into the playoffs, but maybe deeper in. I'm going to roll with Green Bay. I think they can win this one. I mean, Jordan Love just has to also not, throw picks, just like Geno Smith. But I feel like Jordan Love is far more reliable than Geno Smith can be.
Yeah, I mean, look, it really will hinge on what version of Geno Smith you get. Do you get uh, you know Geno Smith from every week but the last two, or do you get the last 2 weeks of Geno Smith? Um, and that's really what it's going to boil down to, I think. Monday night, we got two games. We got the Vikings hosting the Bears. The Vikings, a 7-point favorite in this one. The Bears are, I mean, they're just abysmal. I mean, everything about this team is just abysmal. You should have fired Eberflus at the end of the season, so that way you wouldn't have to have a coaching change for Caleb Williams in his rookie year. That never goes well for any uh, rookie quarterback, especially one that's struggling, and he's struggled as of late. He has not been playing very, very well. The Vikings, though, they have been playing very, very well. Sam Darnold, he's been playing good. I don't think he's going to stay in Minnesota because I think they invested that pick into JJ McCarthy. So when JJ's back next year, I just don't see how. But I think in this game, it's going to be lower scoring. I think the Bears are going to struggle offensively, but the Bears defense is still good. They did get lit up by San Francisco, so maybe the Vikings will find a way to do the same thing that that the Niners were able to do. I'm going to take the Vikings to win. I think they cover that 7 as well. It's going to be, I think if they win, it's going to be like by 10. But at the very bare minimum, they win by a touchdown. I just think, yeah, while the Bears defense is really the only bright spot on that team, the Vikings are going to be able to do enough to win offensively, and their defense, while it is a very good defense, they're not a world-beating defense. The Bears' offense sucks, so yeah, I think that's going to be able to keep Minnesota well ahead and clear to cover that 7.
I'm going to put this in the simplest terms that I can. The Bears are 0-6 away from Soldier Field this year. I'm taking Minnesota to win and cover.
And then lastly, Monday night, we also have the Raiders hosting the Falcons. The Falcons, a 4-point favorite in this game. The Falcons have been just absolutely imploding over the last few weeks. They went from 6-4 to 6-7. They have just not looked good at all. Kirk Cousins has been playing awful. He's not playing at 100%. When it comes to his health, and honestly, if I'm Atlanta, I'm playing Penix this week. I'm playing Penix this week. I want to see what I got against a very, very bad team in the Raiders, and it's low risk, high reward sort of situation. The Raiders, though, I mean, yeah, like I said, they are ass. I mean, the only bright spot on that entire team is Max Crosby. Should have come to Detroit, buddy. But, it is what it is there. I'm going to roll with Atlanta to win this game. I think they have enough, on either side of the ball to get the job done. I'm going to roll with them to win and cover that 4. I think that 4 is just enough. I don't think they win this by a field goal. I think they win this by a touchdown. I just don't see a way that the Raiders' offense is going to be able to be in this game. And yeah, look, I know Atlanta's imploding, but I think this could be a week where they don't necessarily bounce back, but they just stop the bleeding just a little bit.
That's probably the nicest way to put it for the Falcons. I mean, you went from leading your division with the the head-to-head tiebreaker over the team immediately below you because you beat them twice this year, and now that means pretty much nothing because you don't have a better record than them or a tied record with them right now. This now the Raiders are not a good team. They're playing for draft pick positioning, and at the end of the day, I'm going to take Atlanta to win this one. I don't think they cover that four. I think they win this one by three.
I mean, look, I think it could go either way with that. It's just such a tough spot, especially because the Raiders they just suck so bad. But if I'm Atlanta, I'm playing Penix this week. I'm benching Kirk Cousins. I'm playing Penix. I just want to see what I got, and it's low risk. And if he's fucking up in the first quarter, fucking throw Kirk Cousins right back out there. I think it's that simple. And they could still win that game. So that's going to do it for the NFL this week. Now, we only have one college game to preview, and that is, of course, the Army-Navy game, the only game going on this week. Number 22, Army, is the home team in this game over Navy. Army is now a 6.5-point favorite in this one. It opened at a 2.5-point favorite for Army, so it's moved to 6.5. From Sunday. So that kind of opened my eyes quite a bit, going from a 2.5-point favorite to a 6.5-point favorite in this week. Look, Army, they all year dump trucked everyone. They got dump trucked by Notre Dame. And that's really it. Navy started off the year same way, dump trucking everyone. They lost to Notre Dame, and then they dropped, I believe, another two after that loss to Notre Dame in a row. Navy comes into this game 8-3, Army 11-1, and as your American champions. So kudos to them. It's funny they could lose this game and still be their conference champion. Kind of weird, but anyways, I like Army a lot in this one. Their quarterback, Bryson Daly, has been absolutely phenomenal this year. Over 1,400 yards on 264 carries and 29 touchdowns. And throwing the ball, I mean, Army does not throw the ball at all. I mean, he has 78 attempts this entire year, which is just absolutely insane. But again, that's just how Army, Navy, and Air Force play football. They just run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. These option teams, that's all they do. I like Army in this one a lot more. Their defense, I think, is really, really has improved over the last few years, and I think they've really improved over the year as well. They've played a lot better each game that they've played. They got a nice win over Tulane, who just could not stop them. I'm going to go with Army to win. I think they cover that 6.5 too. I don't think this game is going to be as close as it normally is. It's going to be as low scoring as it always is, but I think Army wins this one by a touchdown or more.
Yeah, it is really weird only having the one game for college to preview, but this one is shaping up to be one of the best iterations of the Army Navy game. I mean, they're both with some of the best records that they've had in a while, and they have, both of them have been really good seasons. I mean, both of them lost to Notre Dame, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing in the world because, Notre Dame's in the playoffs and, they're a group of five school. So at the end of the day, this is just about, the good old-fashioned military rivalry, and that's pretty much all there needs to be said about this one. But I'm going to take Army to win and cover this one. And like you said, that line moving like that's pretty significant.
Yeah, a 4-point swing over a week is insane for movement on a single game. Even in college, that's a big swing over a week. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for college. Now I know you want to talk some baseball here, and I want to talk it too, obviously. But we got some, 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 we
Yeah, so free agency for the MLB is getting a little wild already. I mean, we've seen uh Juan Soto and his contract record. But we have some teams now that were, maybe on the outside looking in at the end of the year, or competitors now that they've made some moves, and they're funny enough. The two I want to highlight are both coming from the AL East. The Yankees, they signed free agent pitcher Max Fried for 218 million for 8 years.
Yeah,
They got Garrett
that's a
Cole's backup.
contract. Yes, yes. That's I mean that solidifies that rotation for New York. I think obviously Freed, big name. I mean he's good. Everyone knows he's good. Uh, and now that you have him with Garrett Cole, you have a nice bullpen as well there in New York. You just solidified your starting rotation for the year with this signing. And the Yankees are going to be dangerous when it comes to pitching this year, I think.
Yeah, that might be an understatement. Their rotation is looking pretty scary, I'd have to say. And then moving to yet again another AL East team, the Boston Red Sox made, I think, one of the biggest moves this year when they acquired left-handed pitcher Garrett Crochet from the Chicago White Sox. And they got him for, I believe it was four prospects, but most, if not all of them, were all ranked in the top 10 of the Red Sox farm.
Yeah, so with this, I think because the Crochet deal, I believe, happened before Freed, right?
No.
Okay, so I think what this was because we know the history of that Red Sox Yankees rivalry. Um, and it's always funny when one of these teams makes a move, the other makes a move to try and counter that. You know, Crochet now, that it's a counter move to Freed happening. So yeah, I mean, if you're Boston, this is great too because Crochet is an elite pitcher coming off of a one of his best years ever as well, and he's in his prime. And look, the Red Sox, they started off the year hot last year. Pitching kind of hurt them though. This is a big boost to that team. Um, and again, it's kind of just one of those counter moves that these teams make with each other. Yankees make a move for a good starting pitcher. Red Sox make a move for a good starting pitcher, and we've seen it other ways, the other way around. You know, where Boston makes a really good deal for a really nice player, the Yankees, a couple of days later, same fucking thing. But for Boston, I think it's a win. Yes, obviously you gave up four top 10 prospects, but I mean, if you're trying to win now and you think you can win now with the players that you have, I mean, yeah, fucking go for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I completely agree that this was more than likely a counter to the Yankees getting Max Fried because I mean, especially with the Red Sox situation, they needed starting pitching, and if Max Fried got taken off the board, especially to a division rival, you need to make a move, you need to make a splash, and this was just that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and like I said, with the history of this rivalry, and you look at free agency, and you look at trades, they always counter each other. If someone makes a move, that other team they're making the exact same move with a different player every fucking time. That's how bitter that rivalry is, and that's why it's the greatest rivalry in sports. I mean, plain and fucking simple there. But yeah, I mean, if you're Boston again, you just got help where you needed it most, and that was pitching. I mean, that's what killed their hot start to the year was they lost some pitchers, and you know Crochet again coming off of a, I wouldn't say career year, but off of a really really good year. I mean, yeah, I mean that's a great move if you think about it. Um, and I think it's a win-win for both teams in this deal.
Yeah, I mean, the White Sox get a big boost to their farm, and Boston, you get a much needed starting pitcher.
Yeah, a huge boost to a very very bad farm too. If you're the White Sox,
Oh yeah, terrible.
like you literally just got your top four prospects right there in that deal because their farm is abysmal. Uh, and I mean that kind of reflects on the team as well. But cough cough sneeze. Any other deals you want to talk about here before we get out of here?
No, I think that about wraps it up. There's nothing that's major.
All right, so yeah, so that's gonna wrap us up here, guys. Um, I just I lost my train of thought. All right. Anyways,
Happened to me earlier.
right. So yeah, that's gonna wrap us up here, guys. Rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know what you guys want to see more from us. Obviously, we're getting close to the end of the year for the NFL. Bowl games are coming up too, and we're gonna preview a lot of bowl games coming up here. And yeah, I mean that's really all we got. Follow us on Twitter at the Andrew and Ian Show. Uh, Follow or check out our YouTube page at the Andrew and Ian Show. Keep sharing the podcast. We're going to keep growing this thing, guys. Thank you guys again so much for listening, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.